Hello, welcome to our podcast Racism in Colombia. We are Leidy Arias, Laura Sissa, Juan Sebastian Rey, and Juan Páez, and we are here to talk to you about racism. First, what is racism? Racism is an ideology that defends the superiority of one race over others and the need to keep it isolate or separate from the rest within a community or a country. Social acceptance, approval, and in some cases ignorance are also elements that influence the creation of isolation of people or group of people, giving way to racism. In this podcast, we will talk a little about that and everything that racism means.
Racism has existed in Colombia since colonial times, when the Creoles and the Spaniards decided to bring slaves from Africa because they needed to replace the indigenous people they had exterminated, slaving them on the plantations, in mines, and in domestic work. Then, when the War of Independence occurred, the Creoles promised the African descendants that if they support them in their fight, the black people were going to receive their freedom. However, at the end, things did not change. The Creoles murdered the leaders of the Afro-Colombian troops and even imposed multiple restrictions of them so that neither Afro-Colombians or their children could free themselves from slavery, going so far as to erase names of Afro and indigenous leaders from the national history. In addition to the multiple historical inequalities, according to the website De Justicia, for many years Colombia has had a structural racism known as geographical apartheid, in which Afro-Colombians have been forced to live in territories that were abandoned by the government, causing inhuman conditions such as illiteracy, starvation, and extreme poverty, conditions that they have to face while trying to survive the armed conflict.
Racism in Colombia, a current point of view. Colombia is currently a place in which classism has taken part of the common citizen, in which the poor or any person who can be looked down upon is outraged or dehumanized, either because of their skin color, ancestors, work, or even their beliefs. We often hear comments like, all the persons from the coast are lazy, I didn't know an indigenous person was this capable, or even, I didn't know that people from low-income households could make it here. In Colombia, there are a lot of persons with many prejudices about other persons from their own country. And most of these prejudices doesn't even have a real reason. The person who says some of these prejudices are just repeating from what they hear. Racism is present in modern Colombia, and it takes place in our everyday lives. And if we want to end it, we must make improvements in our schools and in our society in general. There are a lot of things that needs to be changed, and most of them are currently changing, but not because of that we have to relax. If we want real change, we have to motivate those changes, and with that we have to aim for a better society. I use as reference the article name Are We Aware of Racism? How Ethno-Racial Categories, Skin Color, and Miscegenation Shape the Recognition of Racism in Colombia.
A lot of social problems. One of them is the discrimination held against social classes, races, and immigrants. When we talk about the discrimination held against the immigrants, we're talking about the discrimination held against the immigrants from Venezuela. These persons are taken as they were all criminals, as they are all like evil or something like that, just because some of them are committing some crimes trying to survive in this country, because they have to leave their country with nothing more than their clothes and their family. And that's hard when you get to a complete new country to try to survive and no one gives you a chance to work honestly. So some of them have to commit some crimes like robbery to trying to survive. But this is grown that we let that the persons that are trying to survive by committing robbery and stuff like that stay in the name of the rest of good persons that are the Venezuelan people. We cannot let that those persons change our mind of the Venezuelan people. We cannot generalize and think that they are all the same. They deserve an opportunity.
Now I'm going to talk to you the results of many interviews who my team do. As a result of the interviews carried out with different people with different age and thought, the answers were this. For all of them, racism is alienating or insulating people from a group and treating them badly. They also say that a racist attitude would be to make comments that makes another person feel uncomfortable. They also responded that racism is in Colombia and that it is seen everywhere, that they have even practiced it at some time. And finally, they say that all people are the same regardless of their color or customs, and that everyone can achieve great dreams and goals.
Final comments and farewells. In conclusion, racism is an issue that is not isolated from us, that only occurs in countries like the United States. It is a real problem that is present in the day-to-day of many. And although many people know what it is, its complications continue to incur racism. This work leaves us as a final conclusion that although we have knowledge of what the problems are, if we do not work to improve it and eradicate it from society, in reality, we are only preserving the racist culture in each generation.